Welcome back. This is part 2 of Jesus the Healer Healing School, October the 15th, 2015. The first part of our lesson today, where we're talking about what would Jesus do. We're at Living Word Outreach in Trinity, Texas. This is Jesus the Healer Healing School. We've been doing this on the third Saturday of the month at noon. I made an appointment with God to come and have the healing school. Sometimes we have a few people. Sometimes we just have me and the Holy Ghost. But you know what? I've been here every time except for one in all these years. And that time I did it in another place. So if you need to contact me, you can contact me on my email, gracecamp31@yahoo.com. That's gracecamp31@yahoo.com. You can also find me at Patty Ann Sizemore. That's me. I'm Patty Ann Sizemore at yahoo.com. So that's PattiAnnSizemore at yahoo.com. You can also look me up on Facebook, Patty Sizemore. And I have a picture of the Living Word Outreach church sign, Believe in Him, that I painted a long time ago. So anyway, that's this is part 2 for October the 15th, 2016. The first part, we had scriptures about what would Jesus do. And he said to go preach the gospel of the good news of the kingdom and heal the sick. Now, the second thing that you need to do to walk in health, to be healthy, wealthy, and Holy Ghost wise, this is a support group to help you learn how to be healthy and how to live in divine health. Thank God for doctors and nurses and anesthesiologists and hospitals and all of that stuff. The medicine and the pharmaceutical stuff and all that stuff. Thank you, God, for it, because there's a lot of people that really depend on it. But God taught me a long time ago that about nutrition and herbs and vitamins and how to take care of myself that way. So between natural nutrition, and I actually for a short season had a health food store for a few years, and so I learned a lot there. There's a lot of people who need help, and basically if they just would get their bodies to a pH of a level 7, then they would be in the alkaline area. And if your pH is around 7 alkaline, you're not going to be sick, because our alkaline body, sickness and illnesses will not live if you have an alkaline body. So the way you get that is by eating lots of greens and vegetables, fresh fruit and vegetables. Get back to the garden. Look for the organic foods. Look for the stuff that's grown without the pesticides and stuff. Look for the meats and the chickens and the fish and all the stuff that you eat. Try to find better quality stuff instead of just eating all the old junk food from all the fast food restaurants. And all that does is fast and it's quick and it fills your belly for a minute, but then you're going to pay the price later on and have to go see the doctor and take a lot of them pharmaceutical stuff that's very expensive, and he's going to patch you up and arrange for you to come every month to be sure and see him, because he's got a house to pay for, he's got a car to pay for, he has expensive medical stuff and a big building there to pay for, and you are his lifeline. So I'm telling you that if that's what you need, praise God for the doctors and stuff. But I'm telling you, there is a better way. And Jesus and the Holy Spirit and the Heavenly Father wants us all to get back to the garden. We were created in a garden, okay? All the animals, all the birds, all the fishes, all the human beings that were created, we started in a garden. And the fish, of course, had the water and all that. Okay. Anyway, back to basics. Let's get back to basics. If you want to be healthy, okay. I like being healthy. I like being 67 and still able to work and go and do whatever I want to do and not have to go to the doctor every month. You know, I like that. And God taught me how to do that. Now today, we're going to talk about protein. Okay? The building blocks, amino acids and protein. You've got to have protein. Your body is made up of protein. Protein is found throughout the body, in your muscle, your bone, your skin, your hair, and virtually every other part or tissue. It makes up the enzymes that power many chemical reactions, and the hemoglobin that carries oxygen in your blood. At least 10,000 different proteins make you what you are and keep you that way. Protein, you've got to have good quality protein. Now what we have in this little teaching tool here is an article about protein and different researches and tests that they did. You know, like the scientists, they like to run all this research and stuff. So this is what our article is about today. You want good quality protein. All protein isn't alike. Protein is built from the building blocks called amino acids. There are a certain number of amino acids, and there's like 8 major essential amino acids that our body has to have that we don't produce in our body. So we have to get it from outside sources. And so that has to come from food. Animal sources of protein tend to deliver all of the amino acids we need. Other protein sources, such as fruits, vegetables, grains, nuts, and seeds, lack one or more essential amino acids. So all food has some protein in it. It may not have a complete protein. It may have just part of it if it's from the plant kingdom, okay? Vegetarians need to be aware of this, and people who don't eat meat or fish or poultry or eggs or dairy products need to eat a variety of protein containing foods, which, and when they're all combined, like if you have beans and brown rice, you're going to have a complete protein, all right, together. So beans is a great source of protein. Of course, red meat, your beef, your lamb, your goat, you know, these are all proteins. Your ham, your pig, that's a protein. And those are proteins, but they're different quality, okay? So chickens and lean meat and fish, good quality fish, wild salmon, you know, these are all proteins that your body needs. In today's world, though, the chickens that we're getting, they've got them chained to the floor, nailed to the floor in some hen house, and they're feeding them full of hormones to get them all big. And we love our chicken, don't we? I love chicken. I love a good fried chicken breast. But you know what? I've noticed the more I eat that stuff, the more I go. You know, they're pumping our beef full of hormones to make them grow big and fat. America is big and fat today, guys. All right? You can tell. When you see them walking down the road, you can see. I can tell what you've been eating, dude. Me too. I'm not pointing just at me and them. I'm pointing at me too. I know. We all love to eat in America. We are so blessed here. We have a country with grocery stores on every corner. We have a food industry run by our government, but they're turning us into cattle. They're fattening us up. Are they fattening us up for somebody else to come and eat us? Okay. Okay. We don't want to be that way. I'm working on mine too. Protein is important, though. Your body has to have protein. Now, let's see, protein package. Some high protein foods are healthier than others because of what comes along with the protein. Healthy fats are harmful ones. Beneficial fiber or hidden salt. It's this protein package that's likely to make a difference for health. For example, a 6-ounce broiled porterhouse steak, good. A great source of protein, right? About 40 grams worth. But it also delivers about 12 grams of saturated fats. Excuse me. Saturated fats, well, we don't want that in our body. That's not good for our body. Fat, everybody knows that, right? For someone who eats a 2,000 calorie per day diet, that's more than 60% of the recommended daily intake of saturated fat. A 6-ounce ham steak has only about 2.5 grams of saturated fat, but it's loaded with sodium. You just can't win, huh? 2,000 milligrams worth, or about 500 milligrams more than the daily sodium max. Okay, so I love me some ham. My daddy raised me on ham. We always had ham. He loved ham. And but there's just too much sodium in them. I don't know why they got to pack them things with salt, but they do. 6 ounces of wild salmon has about 34 grams of protein, and is naturally low in sodium, contains only 1.7 grams of saturated fat, Salmon and other fatty fish are also excellent sources of omega-3 fats. Now, these are the fats that are good for you. They help your brain to think. A type of fat that's especially good for the heart, also good for your heart. Alternatively, a cup of cooked lentils, lentils are really good. If you haven't eaten cooked lentils, they are really good. Provides about 18 grams of protein, 15 grams of fiber, and has virtually no saturated fat or sodium. So instead of going and grabbing that beef steak or that ham steak, cook you some lentils. Lentils are very healing. Long time ago, my sister had gotten parasites from going to Mexico or something, and she was one sick girl. Her colon and her intestines was full of holes. She was really sick. And this was back in the 70s. And I was into all the healthy stuff. I was just really getting into it and studying and going to all the health food stores. But my sister was really not into anything that I liked. She wanted to be totally opposite of me. It's like, that's okay, that's her. But when she got sick, she needed some of the stuff I knew how to do. And she was too sick to argue with me. I went in and I made her a big pot of lentil soup. And I had carrots and garlic and onions and all that other good stuff in it. But lentils was the main thing. And I made that girl eat that soup, and she could not argue with me then. I wanted to see my sister well. And so between prayer and lentil soup, my sister got well. And when she went to the doctor, he said, "What have you been doing?" And she told him about her sister's lentil soup that she was forced to eat. And the doctor said, "That is awesome because you have been healed of this." And he wanted the recipe. And he even wrote it up in the American Medical Journal about the lentil soup helping to heal the holes in her colon and her intestines from the parasites that she had gotten from going to Mexico. So I'm telling you, this stuff is awesome. Lentils are just magnificent. Little bitty pea-sized bean that is a legume, they call them. And it cooks up in about 30 minutes. You can cook it real fast. I mean, if you want some survival food, you better stock up on lentils. Now, beans and rice is great, but you know what? To cook a pot of beans can take you a couple of hours. And if you're doing it out in the wild, and you got to be getting wood to make a fire and stuff, I mean, 30 minutes for a pot of lentils or 2 hours for a pot of beans, I think I'm going to go for the lentils, right? Oh, just a little side information there for you. Okay. Protein and chronic disease. Proteins in food and the environment are responsible for food allergies, which are overreactions of the immune system. Beyond that, relative little evidence has been gathered regarding the effect of the amount of dietary protein on the development of chronic disease in healthy people. So they don't have a lot out about that. However, there's growing evidence, don't you want to hear that about the evidence? Here we go. That high protein food choices do play a role in health, and that eating healthy protein sources like fish, chicken, beans, or nuts in place of red meat, including processed red meat, that's all that luncheon meat that you're eating, can lower the risk of several diseases and premature death. So go lean, go green, and go lean. You know, look for like the wild salmon, you know, look for the wild caught fish. You know, the stuff that's in the fish farms is not good either. So, I mean, you just can't go get anything to eat anymore. You got to check it out first and be sure it's really healthy for you. Because whatever you put in your mouth is going to affect you one way or another. It's going to make you feel better, or it's going to end up making you feel bad. So you got to check it out before you even put it in your mouth. You got to be careful today what you eat. Cardiovascular disease. Oh my gosh, so many people I know are going into the hospital. They had a heart attack, and now they're going in and putting in stents. They're going because the arteries and the veins is all clogged up from all this stupid fat food we've been eating. So now the medical community is making a lot of money off of you eating a bunch of fatty foods. Now let's reverse that, okay? Let's change that. You know, but if you need it, praise God, they're there. If you want to eat all that fat stuff, you just go right ahead, and they'll hopefully save you before it's too late. One investigation followed 120,000 men and women in the Nurses' Health Study and Health Professionals Follow-Up Study for more than 2 decades. It's like 20 years, right? For an additional 3-ounce serving of unprocessed red meat the study participants consumed each day, their risk of dying from cardiovascular disease increased by 13%. Well, of course. Processed red meat has even more strongly linked to dying from cardiovascular disease, and in smaller amounts, every additional 1.5-ounce serving of processed red meat consumed each day, equivalent to 1 hot dog or 2 strips of bacon, was linked to a 20% increase in the risk of cardiovascular disease death. Now they're picking on our hot dogs and our bacon, but child, it's dangerous. It's good. It's good. I mean, I love me a hot dog and I love me some bacon, but cut back on it. Just do it every now and then for a treat. Don't raise your kids on hot dogs. That you don't know what they put in that thing. I know it's cheap and kids love hot dogs because you fed it to them. And you made it easier for them to eat the junk food than to eat the real food. It's your responsibility, parents, to raise your kids right and give them the good food. A hot dog every now and then for a treat, nothing wrong with that, but that should not be the main staple of their diet. Processed luncheon meat, that should not be the main staple of your diet. Eating that stuff every day is bad for you in the long run. It's quick and it's easy, and I'll tell you what, I love my sandwiches too. But, honey, we've got to get back to eating right and out of the garden. Go more with salads, spinach, and fruits and vegetables and stuff. Cutting back on red meat could save lives. I know the meat industry does not want you to hear this, but you've got to cut back on all that red meat, and it is good. We love our beef in Texas. We love our beef in America. Have it for a treat, not all the time. The researchers estimated that if all the women and men in the study had reduced their total red and processed red meat intake to less than half a serving a day, 1 in 10 cardiovascular disease deaths would have been prevented. You know, I kind of like cheating the doctors out of all that money. I mean, I'm glad they're there. Nothing against the doctors. We're eating the wrong food. Wouldn't you rather go to a doctor for preventive medicine? You can go in for an annual checkup, and you can go in and you can say, oh, there's nothing wrong with you today. Oh, you can just go home. Come back in 6 months or a year. Now, wouldn't that be better? Then, oh my gosh, we got to put you in the hospital, dude. You can't even pass a stress test. You need to get these chemicals. You got to eat these pharmaceutical drugs. You got to take this high blood pressure medicine. You got to take all this other medicine. And you know, if you need it, go for it. I'm happy for you. I'm glad for you. But you got to do something to change it. You've got to change your diet. And if you change your diet, you can change the outcome of it. What you put in your mouth will affect your life. What comes out of your mouth will affect your life. It's all about the mouth. Right here, this little opening right here. What we say is what we get. What we put in our mouth to eat is what we get in our body. So think about it. Then there is the 20-year prospective study. Over 80,000 women found that those who ate low carbohydrate diets that were high in vegetable sources of fat and protein had a 30% lower risk of heart disease compared with women who ate high carbohydrate diets, low fat diets. Diets were given low carbohydrate scores based on their intake of fat, protein, and carbohydrates. However, eating a low carbohydrate diet high in animal fat or protein did not offer such protection. So they did all these studies, and they're finding out that you got to stay away from the red meat, the hot dogs, the bacon, all this processed food, the luncheon meats, you know, put them on the back burner, just have them every now and then for a treat. And you know, if you can get them just out of your life entirely, that's probably be better for you. But you know, when you want to eat chicken and you want to eat fish, but you don't want chicken that's been pumped full of hormones, you got to find the organic chicken. So buying an organic grain-fed chicken is very expensive. So get one every now and then for a treat. I know a lady who works on a place that sells bison, and they have free-range chicken and goats and bison, and that, you know, that's a buffalo. Anyway, that meat is much better for you, but it's pricey. But it's really good for you. It tastes good too. Further evidence of the heart benefits of eating healthy protein in place of carbohydrates comes from a randomized trial known as the Optimal Macronutrient Intake Trial for Heart Health, OmniHeart, a healthy diet that replaced some carbohydrate with healthy protein or healthy fat did a better job of lowering blood pressure and harmful low-density lipoprotein cholesterol than a similar healthy high carbohydrate diet. So what you eat is going to affect you. And there's a lot more stuff in here. I'm not going to get into it. Diabetes. Again, protein quality matters more than protein quantity when it comes to diabetes. A recent study found that people who ate diets high in red meat, especially processed red meat, had a higher risk of type 2 diabetes than those who rarely ate red or processed meat. For each additional serving a day of red meat or processed red meat that the study participants ate, their risk of diabetes rose 12 and 32% respectively. If you're having health issues, you're going to have to lay off the red meat. Please forgive me, beef industry. Another study shows that red meat consumption may increase risk of type 2 diabetes. So if you're having trouble with diabetes, you need to lay off the meat for a little while. Get your protein from more natural sources. Beans and nuts and lots of vegetables are really high in protein. We're going to talk about one in a minute that's a real good natural protein. Researchers found that people who started eating more red meat than usual were found to have a 50% increased rate of developing type 2 diabetes during the next 4 years. Lay off the meat, guys. And then researchers also found that those who reduced red meat consumption lowered their type 2 diabetes risk by 14% over a 10-year follow-up period. They've done the research. They know it. They know what works. Cancer. When it comes to cancer, protein quality again seems to matter more than quantity. You want the quality of protein that you're eating to be very, very high when you're eating. You got to be careful what you eat. Get on a good diet. And are you overweight? I mean, eating vegetables and fruit will take that excess weight off and give you energy to get out and exercise and do stuff. Eating a lot of red meat and processed meat, that's the luncheon meat stuff, is linked to an increased risk of colon cancer. Now that's some painful stuff there. Where you sit is really, and where it comes out of is really hurting, and that is a very painful thing to have to deal with. Any kind of cancer is very painful, but colon cancer is horrible, and it's all from what we've been eating. We've been fed a lot of junk, and we've been letting it mess up our bodies, and then we're ended up in the doctors or the hospitals under the surgery's knife, taking a bunch of strange chemicals. All that stuff is really hard when all you got to do is start eating right. And there's a lot of other studies here. I'm going to go on down to osteoporosis. Digesting protein releases acids into the bloodstream, which the body usually neutralizes with calcium and other buffering agents. Eating lots of protein then requires a lot of calcium, and some of this may be pulled from the bone. So if you're eating a lot of red meat and processed food and stuff, that needs calcium to digest. And so if your body doesn't have enough calcium in it, it's going to pull it out of the bone. And if your bones don't have the calcium, then they're going to get weak and brittle and osteoporosis, and you're going to get old and slumped over and walking bad. And if you fall, you're going to break your bones. I mean, how many 80, 90-year-old women do you know that are humped over and they cannot touch nothing without breaking something? We don't want to be like that. Following a high-protein diet with a long period of time could weaken the bone. In the Nurses' Health Study, for example, women who ate more than 95 grams of protein a day were 20% more likely to have a broken wrist over a 12-year period than compared with those who ate an average amount of protein less than 68 grams a day. This area of research is still controversial. However, the findings have not been consistent. So, let's just get some wisdom here, okay, about what we eat and how it's affecting us. protein and weight control. The same high protein foods that are good choices for disease prevention may also help with weight control. Researchers at the Harvard School of Public Health followed the diet and lifestyle habits of 120,000 women and men for up to 20 years. That's a lot of research. Looking at how small changes contributed to weight gain over time. Those who ate more red and processed meat over the course of the study gained more weight than 1 extra pound every 4 years, while those who ate more nuts over the course of the study gained less weight and over a half pound less every 4 years. Eat nuts. Walnuts is good for your brain. Almonds, there's an old story that if you eat 13 almonds a day, you won't have to go to the doctor. You'll be healthy. Almonds and pecans and walnuts and all the different nuts. I mean, they're a great source of protein, and for a snack during the day, I mean, keep you a little bag of walnuts or pecans or almonds or peanuts, you know. And when you get hungry and you just need a little snack, grab some of them nuts. That is pure protein that is just going to give you energy and make you feel better and get you going again through the day. One study showed that eating approximately 1 daily serving of beans, that's a great source of protein, chickpeas, lentils, or peas can increase fullness, which may lead to better weight management and weight loss. There's no need to go overboard on protein, though some studies show benefits of high protein, low carbohydrate diets. In the short term, avoiding fruits and whole grains means missing out on healthful fiber, vitamins, minerals, and other phytonutrients. You just need a good balanced diet of vegetables and fruit and nuts and beans and rice and legumes, they call them, the bean family, and then have some protein from your meat sources. A good lean beef once a week, once every couple of weeks. I mean, if you want to eat that porterhouse steak, and you know, some people can afford that, that's awesome. But don't do it all the time, and don't do it every day, and don't just make it a special occasion. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is spirulina. This little green stuff is so powerful. Spirulina is a plant that grows in ponds and lakes. It grows in fresh water, and it's of the same kind of family as kelp that grows in salty water in the oceans. But spirulina is this beautiful green plant. It's like it's a blue-green algae, and it is very powerful protein plant. And when you use spirulina, these are 10 things that it does. You can get it at the health food store. It's in a lot of your supplements that you get for bodybuilders. Use it a lot, and in a lot of your protein drinks and stuff, they'll put spirulina, spirulina, spirulina. It's this beautiful green color too. I get it in a powder from Penn Herb Company. Penn Herbs, I've been buying from the 70s. It's awesome. You just Google Penn Herb, Herb company, Penn Herb Company. They're in Pennsylvania, and you can get any kind of herb that you want from them, and the prices are really good. They will ship anywhere you want. The pricing is very, very reasonable, and you can get the herbs. You can get them in bulk. You can get them cut. You can get them in powder. So whatever you like best. You can get stuff in capsules, you can get supplements and stuff. I love the Penn Herb Company. I trust them. You got to be careful where you get stuff from, that it's good quality, because if you get bad quality stuff, if you get stuff that's not really the real thing, then you're going to have more problems. So you don't want that. You want good quality herbs and vitamins and nutrition and supplements. You know, our diets today, the food that we get, even from organic grocery store and stuff, you know, they're still missing a lot of nutrients in our soil from 50 years ago. It's not the same, so you need extra supplements today. Spirulina helps detoxify heavy metals. Eliminates candida, that's yeast. If your yeast candida is out of control, then that's when your body will get sick and you get like a stagnant pond. Improves HIV and AIDS problems, Helps prevent cancer. Well, that's a great thing right there, huh? Lowers blood pressure, reduces cholesterol, lowers the chance of stroke, boosts your energy, it speeds up weight loss, and it alleviates sinus issues. All right, this is a pretty good stuff, and it's really not that expensive. You can get them at the local health food store. You can order it online. Some of your local grocery stores and stuff, you can get it from there. It detoxifies heavy metals, especially arsenic. All over the world, there are people that are dealing with a lot of arsenic in their soil and in their water, and it develops chronic arsenic poisoning. It's a slow death, you know, it's a poison. But when you have spirulina and zinc together, it helps to the combination will help to decrease arsenic in your body. Zinc is really good to get the heavy metals out of your body. A long time ago when I had my health food store, I had a lady who came in and she wanted to get some zinc for her child because back then somehow they'd gotten in some lead-based paint or something. So she got the zinc and it flushed all the lead out of her child's body and the kid was okay. So zinc is awesome. You can get these supplements at the dollar store or the Walmarts or wherever, and it's real cheap, and it has calcium, magnesium, and zinc in it. And I take it all the time, and when I take it, I feel really good. But you need calcium and magnesium and zinc. They will help. Calcium, your bones need. Magnesium moves all the minerals around in your body. It's like the freight train, you know. And then zinc it pulls the toxins out when you have your zinc. It's the great immune fighter. He's standing there with his sword, zinc, and he says, "Get out, you poisons! Get out of this body!" And that's what that does. Okay, eliminates candida. Candida is the base problem for most diseases. If you have candida overgrowth, you'll have like colds all the time. You can have female infections and stuff a lot. You can have a baby that has candida problems will have like a furry tongue. They call it thrush. And if you have too much, if your candida is out of control, your body is like acidic, and diseases like cancer and heart disease and a lot of different diseases can come in when your body is acidic. That's like a stagnant pond. That means you've been eating too much red meat and not eating vegetables. You got to flush all that stuff out. And so you don't want your body to be acidic. So you've got to control the candida. Apple cider vinegar also works good to control candida. Even baking soda. You can take a half a teaspoon and some water for baking soda. That'll help normalize your pH. You want your pH, it goes from like a 1 to a 10. You want it to be at a 7. And there's little strips that you can get to take a test to see if your body's at the pH of 7. That means you're alkaline. You don't want all the way alkaline. That's too far. And you don't want, so 7 is just where you need to be. And somebody gave me some of them test strips, and I tried it out a few weeks ago, and I was at a perfect 7. I was like, wow, I didn't even know it, but I've been doing the right thing. My body was okay. So I don't deal with a lot of diseases and stuff. Maybe a little bit of the pollen and stuff it gives me the sinus things and stuff, but most of the time I'm walking pretty healthy. Okay, eliminate candida. So that the spirulina will help control candida and get it out of your body. That's a yeast infection, okay? Everybody has candida yeast in their body, but when it gets out of control, that's when you start having the health issues. You're tired, you're anemic, you don't want to do nothing, you have a foggy brain, and it's the root cause of diabetes and blood sugar problems and the diabetes problems, and a lot of this just comes from the candida overgrowth. And you go to the doctor and he starts prescribing you all this stuff for diabetes and hypoglycemia and hyperglycemia, and they get you on all these other chemicals and stuff. When all you had, what you only really needed was some spirulina or apple cider vinegar. Bragg's apple cider vinegar will do wonders for you. Okay, moving on here. Helps prevent cancer. It helps improve AIDS problems. It helps you to fight all that off. It's really good. Lowers blood pressure. reduces cholesterol. This is spirulina. It lowers the chance of a stroke. It says that the highlights that regular spirulina consumption can literally reverse the damage done by eating a poor diet. So it will go in there and actually rebuild your body because it has the pure nutrients that your body needs to rebuild. It boosts your energy because it's a pure protein source. And so when you take spirulina, you can get little tablets, you can get a powder, you can make a tea, you can get it in supplements, however you do. It will give you energy. It'll boost your energy. I have 9 herbs that I take every morning, and I get them in a powdered form, and I make a tea because I'm just tired of taking pills, I'll tell you honestly. So I just make a tea. I put some honey in it. I drink it. I gulp it down. It's not a really fun thing to do, but I know that when I drink it, I feel good. And so spirulina is one of the main herbs that I like to use. Okay, boost your energy. Speeds up weight loss because you're not hungry. It satisfies your hunger. When you have a right protein in your body, it satisfies your hunger. You're not hungry and you don't want to eat so much. And it gives you energy, so you're moving. So you're not hungry and you're moving, and your body's being rebuilt by this awesome nutritional spirulina, this little green stuff that grows in a pond, and it's really good for you. Now, also supposed to help with sinus issues. That's really good. Mexico, spirulina throughout history. Here's a little history about spirulina. It's believed to have been a staple for the Aztecs. Recorded history dating to the conquistadors confirms that spirulina cakes, they used to make a little cake out of it, were regularly sold as far back as the 16th century, and one of the most elaborate explanations we have from this time comes from Cortez in his book, Conquest of Mexico. It's in Cortez's book. Remember your history? The guy who went and explored Mexico? And this is from his book. They make it into cakes like bricks, which they sell not only to the market of Tenochtitlan, I can't say it right, I'm sorry, but carry it to others outside the city and far up. They eat this as we eat cheese, and it has rather a salty taste, which is delicious with chimole, a sauce that they eat. They say that so many birds come to the lake for this food that often in winter some parts are covered with them. This spirulina was a primary source of protein for the Aztecs for several hundred years, and Lake Texcoco remains an abundant fountainhead of this superfood still today. Hawaii has a spirulina in Pacifica. The spirulina from Hawaii is very good quality. It is one of the most nutritious concentrated whole foods known to humankind. Hawaiian spirulina pacifica, just Google it, folks, provides more nutritious gram per gram than any other spirulina on the market. Just one 3-gram serving, for instance, contains 60% protein, an excellent source of vitamins A, K1, K2, B12, and iron, manganese, and chromium. Chromium really helps with those people with sugar problems. A rich source of health-giving phytonutrients such as carotenoids, GLA, SOD, and phycoxytin. I'm sorry, I'm not saying it just right. 2,800% more beta-carotene than carrots, 3,900% more iron than spinach, 600% more protein than tofu, which is okay with me because I don't like tofu, 280% more antioxidants than blueberries. So people, add spirulina to your diet. It's really easy to get. I just order it online, but you can go to the health food store and get it. It strengthens one last thought about spirulina here. It strengthens your immune system. It boosts your energy level. It supports cellular health, cardiovascular, eye, and brain health. So people, get you some spirulina and start monitoring the nutrition that you eat, the proteins and everything. And that is the end of our second part of our Jesus the Healer Healing School for October the 15th. Come back in just a few minutes for part 3, and we'll get into the healing scriptures, which started the healing school over 10 years ago. Thank you for coming. I'll see you in a little bit for part 3.